With the help of a grant from the Carnegie Corporation, BustedHalo.com began covering the issue of immigration in a unique way. Instead of contributing to the glut of coverage about immigration, Busted Halo is featuring stories by immigrants themselves about the issue. We distributed flip video cameras to undocumented individuals and agencies across the country and asked them to start video blogging for a period of at least 3 months. Busted Borders is an attempt to use the web's unfiltered nature to move the immigration debate away from abstractions and statistics. Regardless of where you stand on the issue, we hope to give a personal glimpse into the humanity of these strangers in our midst. For reasons of safety, some of the participants have opted to keep their last names and locations secret.
My name is Prerna, and today I'm going to talk about how I ended up undocumented in this country while my family is documented. My dad brought me here at the age of 14 on an F2 visa, which is a student visa, because he wanted to study here after the coup in Fiji against ethnic Indians, and after losing his job, he thought it was the right time to sort of take the next step and go back to college and get a degree and a change in career. So he enrolled me in school, and everything was fine. I was a great student. I knew English already, which wasn't a problem for me ever. And then 9/11 happened in 2001 in September, and that was the year I was applying for colleges. And we had to sort of apply to extend my visa application so that I could continue to study here and go to college here, because that's what we wanted to do. So we applied, and the INS, which is the Immigration Nationalization Service at the time, now it's the USCIS, rejected my application. Now listen carefully to why that happened. It's because 2 years prior to this, my parents had filed for permanent residency through my citizen grandmother, and so they were waiting for their permanent residency application, and I was a beneficiary on that application. And then INS sees this application for student visa. A student visa is a non-immigrant visa, while permanent residency obviously is to immigrate to this country. And you can't have both at the same time, according to them, or at least if you are filing for a student visa, you should not show intent of staying in this country. Now, the intent to stay was already filed by my parents 2 years prior to this, and we had absolutely no idea about this, and neither did any lawyers, really. Because there are instances in which INS makes excuses for these things. But 9/11, after that, the climate was really, really against international students for obvious reasons. We could not prove that I had any ties to my country of birth. That was the selling point that we could not sell, because I had no family in Fiji. There was no one there anymore. My parents were never going to send me back. I was 16, 17 years old. There was absolutely no way. We didn't know what to do. And my family was here. They were legal. They were established. And we couldn't send me back. There's no way you send me a little kid back to their country where you left supposedly for me. So we researched a lot of things, and we went to lawyers and educators and counselors, and they all told us she is in line to be a permanent resident, just like you. She's a beneficiary on your application to be a permanent resident in this country, to be legal in this country. So don't worry about her. By the time she gets out of school, you guys will have your papers, all of you. So, and throughout all this time, I didn't really pressure my parents about my paperwork or anything, because my mom had always assured me that don't worry about it, you'll get your paperwork with us. Everyone has said the same thing, so there was no questioning of that issue. I mean, I would not question it. Why would I? I mean, there's no reason for me to doubt my parents. So, I didn't. They'd always taken care of me. They paid for my school. They paid for me to live in this country. They paid for my clothes, my books. I had no reason to question what they did and what they didn't do. So, I got my master's in international relations, political economy, and I was about 22 at the time, and we went to a lawyer, this is really interesting as well. Uh, I went to a lawyer, and this was about 2 years ago, 2007. And and he looked at me and he's like, "You are in this country illegally." It's like, yeah, I know that. And he was, and because you're over 21, you do not benefit from your parents' petition any longer. And I think that's the second time that the world came crashing down on me. And I was like, wait a minute. My student visa got rejected because I was a beneficiary on my parents' petition. And now you're telling me that I'm not going to be part of the petition because I have aged out? What? How do you age out? How are you not part of your family when a family applies together? How come you are shifted from one category to another? I mean, how does this immigration system work when it separates children from their parents and then you have to apply all over again and wait for another 8 years, because it had been 8 years at that point in time. And I was in shock. I was like, what? And there was simply no protection against that either. And so here was documented parents, documented sister as well, and I was the only undocumented person in the family with a master's degree, unable to use it for any purpose whatsoever.